Hello, I'm David Hunt, and I'm here to introduce you to some of the most wonderful and amazing people in our community. None more than my guest today, Jude Munro. Hello, Jude.
Hello, David.
Now, this woman, and I'm going to have to look at my list because AO, we're going to have to start off that Order for Australia to begin with, and I want to know why. The chair on the board of Victorian Pride Centre, a chair of Vic Planning Authority, director of Newcastle Airport, SCM director and Metro Tas. Wow. You're such a busy person.
I am a busy person, David.
But then you were, back in the day, in the 70s, a founding member of the gay lib movement in Melbourne.
I was.
And in 2010, you got the Order for Australia?
Yes, I did.
What did you get it for?
For services to the people of Brisbane and to local government in Australia.
Within the Brisbane government, you worked in different areas for over 10 years.
I was the CEO of Brisbane City Council for a 10-year period.
Wow.
Brisbane City Council, for folk elsewhere, you wouldn't necessarily appreciate the size and scale of it. So it served a population of 2/3 of metropolitan Brisbane, so just over 1 million people.
Yep.
That's its resident base. We had 10,000 staff and a budget of about $2.5 billion.
Gosh.
So we weren't as big. We're not as big. We weren't as big as most state governments with big health and transport budgets. But unlike councils in Victoria, we ran water and sewerage, and also provided the bus system, and also the ferry system.
Looking back on your life, the 10-year-old Jude, what did you foresee where you were going? Did you have that drive and that passion?
When I was 10, I was probably just becoming aware of my sexuality and identifying as a lesbian, but I wouldn't have known that was the term.
Yep.
I was unusually tall, so I grew
Really?
fast and then I stopped. I used to have a real sense of, and still do, a great sense of fairness. And I used to hate it when kids were picked on, and I used to go the bullies then.
Yep.
And I also helped kids that might have been a bit slower than me in maths classes and stuff like that.
All right, so you're always there to lend a hand.
Always there to lend a hand. I was like the milk monitor and the this monitor and the that monitor, and I think some people would say that I was an enthusiast, and I am an enthusiast.
Yep.
I've got very high energy level.
I also find with you as well that, like the powerhouse that you are and that you have been, but you're still such a gentle, like caring person. That personality has not changed from probably that 15-year-old, 12-year-old.
I think that's probably true, but there's also a ruthlessness about me.
Oh, so you can do it with a nice smile on your face.
Yeah, and in fact, over the years as a CEO, I had to sack people who weren't performing or they were in the wrong jobs.
Yep.
But I'd always start those conversations with thinking about what they'd done that was really great and praise them for that, and then talk to them about that they weren't, the job wasn't the right one for them.
Yep.
Didn't focus on the negatives really, but I can have that side to me that's really quite steely resolve, which is probably why I've been able to achieve different things over my career.
Now, realising you were a lesbian, and back in the day, was like you was very closeted, I'm sure, as most people were. Was it hard, considering that you were starting to forge a career for yourself? Were you coming out to people?
All the time.
Did you?
So I sort of came out at school.
Okay.
I had an innate sense of, a very strong sense of self-belief and confidence that I couldn't believe it if the church where I grew up, the Salvation Army, had a view that was what we would now say anti-LGBTIQ, I thought they were wrong rather than me.
Brilliant.
Right? And as soon as you've got that sense of confidence,
Yep.
and how thrilled I was at the recent Pride March to see those hundreds of kids with -18. I just thought, I got shivers up and
Wasn't
down
it?
my
It
spine,
was
and I just
spectacular.
got goosebumps. And I think, yes, that's what it's about.
Yep.
It's about confidence. It's about being proud of who you are, and that concept that you and I have discussed about identity, that people are able, in some cases, to forge their own identity or know who they are,
Yep.
and to be true to themselves.
At the end of the day, you don't have to come out to everyone, do you? You know, like along your journey on the boards that you've sat on and all that, you don't have to tell them.
You don't, but you do.
Oh, okay.
You do it in other sorts of ways. I make reference to my partner, Louise.
How long have you been together?
33 years.
Oh, is that all? Joking.
So Louise comes up naturally in discussions. And you can't, I don't think you can lead such a compartmentalised life. Now, when I have talked about her or talked about other things in my life, what happens is it unleashes other people. So during the marriage equality debate, I mentioned that a couple of times on boards, and my colleagues have come out then and talked about their sons and daughters
Right. Oh, lovely.
who are LGBTIQ.
Yeah.
So what is the power of coming out has been there for us since those 70s, since the early 70s, that coming out empowers others to come out. It's so powerful.
Let's talk about the whole coming out situation where you're now heavily involved in Victorian Pride Centre, and the fence is going up around the car park out the back, because I live right out the back, and the building's going to be pulled down any day now. Why did you get involved?
Ro Allen, our commissioner,
Yep.
approached me, and there are some times in life when people ask you to do things and you have to say yes.
Yep.
And I did.
And you did. But on top of all the boards that you're involved in, here is one that, you know, like, because there's been, you know, all the money from the state government and then the council, but there was so much extra money that had to be found to make it still viable. It's been a tough job for you, hasn't it?
It's been one of my most challenging and rewarding enterprises that I've been involved in. So when I was at Brisbane, we built a tunnel, a $2.6 billion tunnel, and I'm familiar with big projects. I've also been, when I started my career, a community development worker, and I worked with the Victorian teacher unions, organising around sexism in education. Now, none of those things, from both ends of my career with both enormous challenges, don't compare with this, because we had to establish trust with the community,
Yep.
herd the cats within government. So what I mean by that is just doing a lot of boundary writing, just making sure that everything was right, and occasionally taking considered risks. An iconic design competition, reaching to a beautiful design of a building, which captured the heart of a premier, which then enabled a treasurer to give a loan that has grown a multitude of allies. You know, there's so much that having a capital asset that can also be a well-loved home for LGBTIQ people, that can be an iconic symbol. All of that wrapped up is an enormous challenge, been sets of risks that we've had to take, but we are getting there. So we're at a very exciting stage.
But once the building's open, there's going to be a lot of other challenges, isn't there? You know, like,
Yeah.
our community, sometimes we can be our own worst enemy, and you know, like, and putting everyone into their areas and making sure the right people are in there is going to be a challenge.
Yes, and it's also about getting models of operation so that people can work together and respect each other. But what a fantastic thing to have a permanent home for LGBTIQ organisations.
Yep.
And for young kids, that Toby in Geelong will feel in his heart that this is a place that he can be safe in.
Yep. But also for all the organisations, just knowing that, you know, they don't have to keep on looking for a venue to do this or to do that. There's a little theatre that's going to be part of it, so there can be performances for you know, the Gay and Lesbian Choir or Low Res, and you know, like it will be such a meeting place, won't it?
It will be a meeting place. Cafe, the co-working spaces, the theatre, the meeting rooms, the boardrooms, the services that will be on offer. Joy radio station, switchboard, -18 and so forth and so on. So it's fantastic that that can all happen there. There will be an element of curation. No good community development centre operates without a lot of care and thought being given to how can we make this a lively and interesting and safe place and welcoming place.
Yep. Actually, that is a challenge, isn't it? You know, like, because yeah, it's all very well for everyone to be there, but you know, like, the development of it is crucial, isn't it?
It is, and our board, we're also refocusing our board, even at this stage, from just being the board that is building the Pride Centre into the board that can think cleverly around facilities management and also the curation of activities. So we will go through board transitions over the course of the next year and probably into the second year as well. So we've got July 2020, so July next year.
Yeah.
It's moving from being a vision of Ro and other activists within our community to have a Pride Centre into being a reality.
Wow. It's pretty soon, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, like, Jude Munro, thank you so much for being on today, and can't wait to be part of that wonderful Pride Centre down in St Kilda. I'm David Hunt. I'll see you soon.